Welcome to another meeting of the Lorain County Commissioners, broadcast exclusively on your Lorain County Community College education station. The Lorain County Commissioners cordially invite you to see the meetings live and in person every Thursday morning. The meetings are located in the Lorain County Administration Building, located at 226 Middle Avenue in downtown Elyria. The meetings start at 9:30 a.m. on most weeks. Now, enjoy the meeting.
I'm Dominic Mileti. I'm on the Planning Commission. In all the years I've been on the Planning Commission, I haven't seen where one entity, whether it be the trustees, the fire department, the health department, or the county engineers, if they felt there was something wrong, then it didn't pass until it was corrected. As an example, and Dale will verify that one time there was a gas well come up in the center of a cul-de-sac. That did not pass. That subdivision was at a standstill. But I like both Ron's and Dale's viewpoints.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, anybody else have any comment?
For the day?
No, not for the day, Bob. You'll have your time.
Mr. Chairman, would the board, based on what Dale has said, Mr. Dominic, who's a member of the Planning Commission recommendation, I would be willing to make a motion to approve this recommendation and asking that it be effective in 30 days. In addition, asking the Planning Commission to continue their work to look at the specifics of what Dale has pointed out. And also the question that I've asked that you're going to be working on about conservation development, because I think that's a key part of what I would like to see happen in the future for Lorain County.
Second.
If I might comment, we are working to update the overall subdivision. We will continue along that. Conservation development, PUDs, PRDs, all of those concepts will be incorporated into the improvement standards and the subdivision, working better and closer with each of the individual wishes individually of the townships. Certainly will be a part of that discussion. Today at 3 o'clock, we do have a county planning commission. Not to spoil a vote, but if you wish to table this until you have an opportunity to come in and address that directly this afternoon with these members, I'm comfortable with doing that, but we do stand behind the recommendation as the motion is made today.
Okay. Now, I think everyone's in favor of it. As long as we do an addendum or amendments later, then that's why I don't have a problem with voting today.
More discussion? Mrs. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Mrs. Vancic?
Aye.
Guess we're back to Mr. J.C.
That was the longest 20 minutes I've.
I can't wait to hear the architect.
I'm almost embarrassed to go forward. I'm not sure we can top that excitement that Mr. Twining brought in his public hearing, but why don't we have our architect come forward, and why don't you make your presentation on the lobby foyer area of the new Justice Center.
Everyone see this? Oh, okay.
Okay.
That's good. Now, if you turn it too much, nobody out there can see. You've got to kind of do a middle ground.
Why don't just rotate? Well, I hope you don't mind if I didn't use a microphone. Is that okay with everyone? Okay, thank you. Well, my name is Emilio Torres. I work with Collins Gordon Bostwick Architects. And as Mr. Cortez pointed out, we'd like to present to you a possible enhancement to the lobby for the new Lorain County Justice Center. Just to quickly refresh your memory, This is currently the design that's approved. So as you see it, you would basically have Court Street here. You would enter. Then you'd have a public area. You would have the security zone, and once you pass through the metal detectors and all the security devices, then you would enter the secure lobby, where you have an information desk as well as the stairs going up. Well, mainly the space is comprised of the curtain wall, so you're going to have a lot of glass. As you enter, you'll be able to see the native stone. We have a native sandstone it's a local product. And aside from that, everything else is gypsum wallboard painted. We feel that the design of the lobby can be not only more welcoming, but also, for lack of a better term, you can actually command more respect. So this is what we are currently proposing to the board today. And basically, what we're going to do is to take cues from the exterior of the building, and again, I hope everyone can see this. We're going to take cues from the exterior of the building, and if you can actually see, we have a play between light and dark bricks with horizontal banding. I think it's really more noticeable here. Well, we like to do the same thing, however, because this is going to be, a much smaller space than the outside, we'll have to use something lighter and something durable. So we're proposing to use stone. Right now, what you see here is you'll have a terrazzo base. This has already been approved. It's in a project. I don't know if you'd like to maybe circulate it. Okay.
What's that, the floor?
Yes. Correct, about 8 inches actually. This is already in the approved design. Now we also have terrazzo in the floor. This is once again also approved. We have light and dark.
And where does that go?
Easier floor cover.
It goes, yes, floor
That's
pad.
the code for the floor. As you see the code molding in, that's the code of the code. This is the color of the terrazzo floors.
But once again, that's already approved. I just want to, be able
Is it
to.
two different colors?
Why don't you explain the coloration?
I'm sorry?
That's why there was 2 different colored terrazzo.
Well, we have a two, once again, going back to the exterior, we have 2 tones of brick. We basically want to take the same shades, however, they have to be just a little bit lighter because, the nature of the space is a much smaller space. So therefore, we have to use something a bit lighter for that.
But you're using both colors in the floor? That's my question.
Yes, I'm sorry. We have alternating. It's an alternating pattern. So one area may have, for example, 10 foot by 10 foot square of, the lighter terrazzo, and then you'll have another 10 foot by 10 foot area with the dark. So, well, in any case, we want to basically do the same thing on the walls. So we are now suggesting that, as I mentioned, we have the darker terrazzo, the reddish terrazzo that I show you as a base, and then we will have, I guess, a darker stone, if you want to call it that, to accentuate the lines that we already have from the curtain wall and from the exterior, and then we'll use a lighter stone as part of the field.
Now the field is the wall, and the
Yes.
darker stone will be like a relief, right?
Correct. Actually, no, it is going to be flat. They're both going to be in the same plane. They're going to be separated by a half-inch reveal.
Okay.
Fine. Now we're going to carry that throughout the lobby. Then once we actually enter the secure lobby where we have the information desk, the same as the stairs, we right now have drywall. Everything is enclosed in gypsum wallboard, painted. So we're also suggesting that we use maybe a glass just to lighten up the space, to really open up the space, and also to allow for more light to go in. So we're proposing that we use something similar to this. It's a sandblast glass. It's not quite transparent, it's translucent. So you should still be able to get a lot of light in the building. Also, somebody suggested in the meeting yesterday that it would be a great opportunity to actually engrave the county seal in one of the panels.
But we thought we used one of the panels and possibly engraved, have the county seal sandblasted in, and also maybe the scales of justice or something like that to add a real professional look to the glass area. They'll also break up that little glass.
How do you clean that?
I don't think we have to.
With some Windex and a rag.
No, you don't
You
have
can
to.
actually clean it just as you would clean any glass. In fact, it will show dirt less than clear glass. It's not going to be, that's not the actual material. I'm only showing it so you can actually see the translucency of, or the translucence, sorry, of the material.
Now, I understand that glass will be about an inch thick, 3/4 of an inch thick.
It should be about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an
So
inch.
I don't think they have the proper thickness there, right? That's going to be much thicker than that.
Oh, yes, yes, it is, yes.
Okay, so that's just a sample.
Just to show us.
Right.
Once again, we're proposing to take the stone up to 16 feet in the space, and then from 16 feet up, we'd have drywall. We would basically follow the same 1/2 inch reveals, which is basically like an indentation or a rail in the wall, following the same curtain wall design that we have in the stone. Now, if the board has any questions regarding the design,
I'm trying to see from here. You got a little, looks like a window, but I think there's a, is that a naming of the justice?
right here,
What's that?
this is actually the plaque.
That's where your name goes.
No, I'm not looking for that. So where would the seal be?
Well, the seal actually, we can actually engrave it on the
Would it be on the stairway?
stairway.
It can be anywhere you want it, Commissioner. We can make that determination.
Yes.
Well, no, because if you're looking to change, it depends on where you want to put it and
Okay.
what you think, or,
Wherever you would like to have it etched. it can be etched.
I'm just asking.
Okay, it's up to the board.
Where are you suggesting that this glass go? Is this going to go on the stairway and also on an outer wall?
Yes, it's going to go on a stairway, and then once you go up, instead of just having a solid half wall, so it's almost like a balcony looking down, you could have the glass right along there.
That's after the secure area, correct?
Yes,
Oh, yes,
that's
it's all at
inside.
the secure. Yes.
What's proposed for there now?
We have gypsum wallboards painted,
For the stairs?
half wall.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And again, we felt that we could really break up the space and make the space seem larger.
Do you have the sample coating for the stair itself?
Is this worth $1 million?
Actually, yes,
I think so.
well, that's going to be the color of the handrail. However, the stairs
The stairs going to be the same color?
are going to be the same color.
Here, what is?
Oh, well, right now, we're actually proposing gypsum wallboard. However, if you'd like it to be metal, we can do that as well, to match the curtain wall.
What do you want, metal?
Well, this is your handrails coming up. The area under the glass there, I don't know what coloration you have for that.
Well, as of right now, we basically have it as gypsum wallboard.
Now, what do you estimate the cost for this to be? The additional cost?
Well, we did some very preliminary cost on this, and I think it was estimated at between $150,000 to $200,000. But again, I really want to stress that it's very preliminary, so pending the board's decision on this, we can look at the matter into more detail.
I didn't feel comfortable authorizing them to go further forward, because there is some cost involved with doing that before the board got a chance to take a look at this issue.
You got lots of costs. You also have the cost of engraving, if you're talking engraving. You got the cost of,
Well, the engraving's optional. That's up to the board.
no, but how much are they going to, I mean, what about engraving on the stone itself?
You could have the stone engraved.
That's what I'm saying, I'm trying to look before the stairs. I mean,
You're talking about actually engraving the stone?
Well, that's what maybe I misunderstood him. You're talking about just engraving the glass?
Well, the reason I suggested the glass is the stone is going to be put in tiles right there.
Yes, I'm sorry. The stone actually comes, in order to make it more affordable, it's actually an 18-inch by an 18-inch tile.
But you could probably buy a bigger stock and then engrave that and center that into a side of a wall if you want to engrave.
I really am not sure if you can actually engrave a stone. It's really about 3/8 of an inch.
Oh, I know, but you could actually buy one that's
If
2
you engrave the
inches.
stone, you would be doing it in a sandblast process, which is the same process we've been doing with the glass.
Right.
I mean, we can certainly look at that and evaluate that in another day as see whether that's something that merits it, but it's certainly an attractive feature.
So what are you looking for from the board today?
Well, obviously you have no cost, so you can't make a final approval. I want to know if there's any interest in going forward to enhance the lobby area. In our desire to bring you back the most cost-controlled version of the Justice Center, we left a lot of issues on the design room floor, for a lack of another term. And the foyer and lobby area was one of those areas that there was some concern in that process that we may not have paid enough aesthetic attention to. Now that we believe that we have some savings, I want to represent that issue to you. I don't want you walking into your lobby and foyer going, oh boy, this isn't what I expected. It doesn't have that kind of appeal. And I understand that this is going to be, somewhere around $200,000. It could be a little more, a little less. But do we go forward from here? Is there any interest on the board's part to look at this? We have a small window of opportunity to make these changes because the contracts are let. That window is pretty. What? Just a couple of weeks here, right? Within a month or two, we have to.
We should, if we're going to do it, we need to proceed with the processing and the planning of it this summer. In order to incorporate it, the further we get into the structure of the building this fall, the more difficult it's going to be.
So between the design work and the approval process, we have a small window of opportunity here to do some work in the foyer area. I was never clearly resolved on using the drywall in a lot of areas there because of the beating it takes, especially in the foyer area. It does not hold up well, and I had very much had concerns about that issue early on. But once again, the dollars were what the dollars were, and after the bidding process, we were relieved to find we had a few dollars that were saved. And if it's going to be reinvested somewhere into the construction process, I recommend that you do it in your foyer and lobby area that has the heaviest traffic.
Is this the foyer before you go through the secured area, or is this both?
This is the open area after you go through the metal detectors, the general area.
Well, what's on the area before you go through the metal detectors?
That's supposed
The outside of the building.
But no.
Huh?
The outside of the building.
Isn't there?
No. You walk in, you look at the design of the old one. Well, pull it up. Is it all glass before we go up there?
Right.
I'm sorry, you're asking the extent of the...
No, just put that up so we can look at it.
Okay. Well, before we get to the metal detectors,
What's on that side before the metal detectors?
you're talking about in this area right here?
Yeah.
Okay, what we have right now is gypsum wall work, once again, with half-inch reveals. We're suggesting that we improve this area as well.
So we're not talking about after, we're talking about the whole thing now.
It would, in essence, be, yes, this area.
You have glass right now in the front part, so the majority of the area pre-security is glass, and that will remain unchanged. There are a couple columns in that where the stone would be coming down, and it begins the process, but most of it's articulated at the security area.
But that already has glass. So where are we adding this glass?
You're just looking at a little area before the entrance, that's all. I mean,
Right now, what we have is, we have the curtain wall with glass right along here. We are suggesting that we add stone tile, as I showed you, right along here, and here, as well as here. And then the glass that I showed to you is something that we could use on the actual stairs. So instead of having a low wall where you would normally put the handrail, that would be glass. And that would actually take you up to the mezzanine level. So it's almost as like having a balcony that goes around here like so on the second floor. That would also have glass.
right now it's just drywall, which would be
Yes.
kicked and, yeah.
Yes, that will, you know,
most people are happy
that's
with
another issue. It's not very durable, so.
Will you point out where the metal detectors are coming in?
Here you did.
Right here.
Okay.
We knew what was going on, Jim.
I misunderstood the question. I apologize.
Okay, so we're talking about these, the glass, the handrail is still,
Well, the handrail is already, it's basically in, yes.
and these little, the smaller ones here, these are already included, right?
Those have
The floor
already
and
been, those have already
okay.
been approved, yes.
So all we have to make a decision on is whether or not we want to use these instead of
Basically,
drywall.
2 stones and glass, yes.
These three things here. Would now be an appropriate time to discuss a dedication name for the building? Okay, I'm just wondering, because if we're going to be asking these guys to dedicate, no, if they're going to design something, then they need to put it in place like we talked about. If we're going to put in a county seal, a state seal, a justice seal, and maybe a dedication of, I don't know, I got a name in my head, but...
Surprise, surprise.
Now be the time to discuss that issue. No, now be the time to discuss that issue since you guys are going to be designing this, because after we say we want to add these names or we want to add this, then it's going to be redesign fees. So if you're going to ask us to support this, don't you think we should just say, okay, this is how we should do the foyer? Because you guys are throwing ideas at us today. Or do you just need us to say, hey, get us some costs? What are you asking?
We can always go back and etch up the glass panels. I mean, it will be going late in the process, and add plaques to the building as you see fit, Commissioner.
Maybe not plaques, maybe something else. I mean,
We can always do that. If you want to do it today, that's great. You guys are the boss. If you want to do it at a future date, that's fine. What I want to do is go to the next stage with this, which would be getting some cost and design features done so we can move forward. Any place you want the name put or memorialized, however you want to name the build, you said dedicated, we can certainly incorporate. And they can make recommendations, or you can point up some things today.
It's hard to make a decision when you don't have an actual cost, an additional
I understand.
I
cost.
think he's looking for whether or not he can get support from the board to go this path, correct?
Correct.
That's what he's looking for.
Well, I
I'll
don't
bring
know
you
if I
back
want to
to-
support it unless they know the cost.
It has to come back to you for the
No, he wants
cost.
to know, what he's saying is, right now, we got drywall.
Yeah, I know.
If he tells these guys to start spending money to design, right? Is that what you're
Correct.
asking? To do
Correct.
this, then they'll come back and say, this is how much it's going to cost.
And it's going to be additional cost for them to redesign,
Oh, yes.
and it's going to be additional cost to change this. Now, you're going to deduct the drywall cost, right?
Well, we'll get a credit for the materials already used, and then we'll have a change order for these issues. I know the lobby and the foyer areas are of particular importance during the process, and I don't want to wait until the end and say we should have, could have, may have. I waited till the savings was there before I presented this back to the board for
Well, if you look at
consideration.
our building downstairs when you come in, don't we have some kind of hard surfaced wall downstairs?
Yes, we have the brick, the stone, and
We don't have just the plain wall like we have.
correct.
What's the wishes of the board? You want Jim to pursue, to tell us how much it's going to cost to do this?
Well, are we interested at all in knowing what the cost is? Or are we satisfied with the way it
I'd like to know what the
is?
cost is before I make a decision whether or not to go ahead.
Once again, I would have to come back with any change order for cost to this board. We need to spend some money. We have it in the contract to let the architects go to the next level with this. I wasn't comfortable authorizing that without the board's somewhat interested in doing this.
I like the idea of glass drywall on the stairs because I have a feeling, like I said, some people get angry when they leave court, and I think it'd be appropriate because I think we'd have more cost with people kicking or walking.
Your downstream maintenance costs will be significantly reduced by making these changes. So while you're spending money now, you're going to save it over the next few years.
So you just want us, I don't have a problem with you coming back and showing this is what it's going to cost, but what kind of architectural fees are we talking about for this?
Well, I'm really not qualified to speak on that matter, so.
Right. It'll be a few $1,000s, Commissioner. It's not going to be absorbent.
I know, everyone's definition of absorbent's different, so.
Well, is it a percentage of whatever they bring back?
It's probably going to be on an hourly basis, Commissioners. I don't have that. I don't have that before me. Obviously, there's sometimes we're going to have to take some cost to find cost.
What do you want from us? What do you want us to-
Are you interested in pursuing this further to the next design and cost stage so that we can work on it?
Commissioner Massey? Are you fine? I don't have a problem. I'll tell you, the guy that's saying no to everything, I'll just say I don't have a problem.
Wow, all right.
I'm not saying I'm going to vote for it, I'm just saying I don't have a problem because I'm going to start swooning you guys on dedications. How's that?
But in the meantime, while you don't have a problem, they're going to go forward with it, so you might as well say yes or no.
No, they're going to come back.
Well, I believe we owe you cost data before we ask for a final decision on whether to go
Exactly.
forward with that. I believe we owe that to you, and I need to spend a little money to be able to get you that.
What I would like to see is this. I mean, a little better than, because this is your guys' language. What I'd like to see is, okay, this is what's drywalled, and this is what we're going to be replacing.
Okay.
And this is, because I have a feeling with drywall, you're going to have a lot of damage.
They're able to bring you in a 3D a mock-up of this, but that's going to cost some
I
money.
don't want
That's
to do
why.
that. I don't think we need that.
Okay.
That's too much money. I mean,
Is it actually drywall, or is it this type of thing? And I don't know if this is drywall.
That's door sand. That's a covering over drywall.
So that will be just drywall, not with...
Basically, the design as approved right now is drywall.
It's painted drywall. It's not even door sand,
Now, the
correct?
problem with drywall, of course, as you mentioned, somebody may be upset and just kick the wall and you have a hole.
It
Also, you can
depends on
have-
how thick it is, doesn't it? Because, I mean, this here has been here for 25 years, or over 25 years. Where we have to go is upstairs, domestic relations, and see how angry people hit those walls.
nobody's ever angry here. That's the main thing.
Yeah, but they don't kick walls here. If they're going to kick them, it's going to be on the
It's not
fifth floor.
only the issue of violence or anger. It's also you may have people just waiting for a ride or just basically hanging around.
Put their foot up
They
on the
may
wall.
actually put their foot up against the wall and scratch it, scuff it.
That's a
Point
point,
out.
that's true. Is that area big enough for different events, for people, the public to use it, say if they want to get married there?
I believe originally that was the original intent of the space. So yes.
Why don't we, what do you need?
All right,
You
I
got
say
what
go
you-
with it.
I got what I need.
Okay.
I'm comfortable.
Go
Okay.
with
As long as you're warm and fuzzy, Jim.
You convinced us.
Oh yeah, I'm warm. Why don't we proceed on to the Justice Center for... Do you want to recognize a member of the audience, or do you want the next part of the presentation?
We need to do the, Bob, we're going to wait for your presentation. You'll have 3 minutes at your time.
Come on, let's go.
No, this isn't that
Oh,
type
this
of
is
glass.
very thick glass. You're not going to have a problem with that at
I
all.
don't think this one's going to shatter.
Will you also,
Okay.
let's go on to the naming of the Justice Center, the signage.
yes.
Excuse me, the signage,
No, you
not
said
the
the
name.
name.
Yeah, I heard
And
that.
I'd like to thank you for bringing that up, Mr. Cortez.
Not me. I would like to non-thank you.
As I change the picture, Commissioners, periodically through this construction process, I'm going to be bringing different things back to you for your consideration so that we get the best building possible. So this won't be the only time.
I agree.
Some things may be reduction in cost because we found some ways of saving money. Okay, now, David, wait a minute, let me show you something. Okay.
We're supposed to understand that?
No, I understand it. You know,
This moves here.
Okay,
You put it
good.
here. Okay, don't be making that face yet, all right?
Okay, does it light up and do a
So-
strobe light too, or is it a sandstone, or what is it? Or am I interrupting you guys
Then
before
you
you
can move
start?
it all over.
Sure, okay. Well, basically, with the lettering, right now what we're looking at is using a dark acrylic, something that, again, is translucent so that when you have it during the day, the letters will appear as dark, regardless of where you put it. Then at night, you can turn on the lights, and you'll get some glow from them.
Well, we're building this out of sandstone and brick. I think it's a little bit more respectable to have a sandblasted sandstone. I've seen where they've put them into the walls and identified it like that. Similar to federal buildings downtown and our courthouse here, I believe. I don't even know if they have a sign on it.
Well, yeah. What we use on this building, and there's I think there is some etching on the courthouse. We have raised lettering on this building.
Yeah, this is something made in the 70s. If this is going to be here 100 years, and we got so much sandstone being built into this and so much brick being built into it.
Well, now, the issue with that is that when you carve sandstone, it's actually difficult to be able to see exactly what's being carved in it from a distance.
I think people are going to know what this building is.
You're not going to
downtown.
have, well, the idea was to have a sign that you could actually recognize the building from afar. So, a building actually becomes like a beacon in the
With
air.
a light on
I
it,
think
nice,
I
nice.
think it's going to be a beacon. I just don't think we need a sign like that up there. I'm just saying, I just my own personal opinion that I don't know if a sign out in the building would look good more as something etched into the stone or the sand or the brick or
Do you
sandstone.
feel that this is something that should be engaged in the building? That is, it should actually be, for example, this piece of stone actually carved
Correct.
as part of the building?
I've seen where they've actually taken out larger pieces of sandstone, sandblasted, and set it into a format around the brick too. I've seen that. I've seen lots of different types, but you're talking about a sign being put on.
Well, Commissioners, it's not your drive-through buy cigarettes here sign. These are huge letters with backlit with lighting. So it's not a lit sign per se.
You just said that, though, with lighting.
Well, lighting comes, it's indirect lighting from behind. So you have letters, the lighting is behind it in a shadow fashion.
I guess I should really mention, it's not really going to be like a Dairy Mart sign or anything.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm sorry, no. In fact, you would have something, once again, that at night it would look very similar to this. It's just simple yet elegant.
Each one of those letters will be independently mounted, correct?
Yes.
Well, what about the glass greenhouse we got there in the middle? What if we etch something in there? That's dead center.
We can, and in fact, right now, we're suggesting that if we have a sign, up high for, I guess, farther distances, that we have something that's for a more pedestrian scale.
Okay, I see, yeah. That makes more sense to me than
Now,
having a
since you
big...
mentioned the idea of sandstone, and Mr. Cortez mentioned this possibility as well, that we could have the seal, say, somewhere around here.
Yeah, that might, maybe...
There's also the possibility that what you actually carve is the seal.
But what about 3rd Street? Because maybe that's where I'm thinking...
And that's what I also said, we may want to put the seal and so forth on the 3rd Street side as well as the front of the building. I think carved and etching is so magnificent, especially some of the older buildings in Cleveland, as you mentioned. The problem is, did you ever try to read that stuff? Did you ever, it's very, even if you cast a light on it, it's very hard to read from any place unless you're standing close to it. So if you want to do the etching, which would be great, and it would have long-term utilization, long-term, excuse me, it'll be there forever. The lettering probably should be done, the numbering should be done so that we can see it from some distance.
Okay, no, I disagree.
It's your building.
That's not mine. I'm just saying disagree with that statement. Don't go back to going, it's your building. That's not the issue.
Now, we're talking about having 2 signs, one
Right, that's what
on
I mean.
a top level and then one by the doors.
The one by the door is on the canopy.
As we're
it is?
suggesting right now, we could have a sign up high so that it can be seen from afar. If we do that, then it would also be suggested that we have something with smaller lettering and not necessarily lit. In fact, we're thinking that this thing will not be lit at all, but instead it would just be relief letters on the canopy, on the entrance canopy.
But with your statement, with the inside light coming out to enhance the sign, that's why I was wondering if it was in the middle there with the glass. Just have a larger sign there. Where you got the little lettering right there?
Right here?
Yeah, take that. You can pick that thing off, that sign. Yeah, pick that up and put it right dead center of the glass. That's kind of what I'm getting
Suggesting
at.
right there?
Yeah, that's all I'm saying, but not like a sign, but just more of an etching or something. There you go, dead center.
That may actually block too much lighting from the
Okay.
space.
Well, no, I was saying if it's glass etching.
Oh, you want the glass etching?
That wouldn't be a sign, but it'd be glass etching.
I'm not sure that if you're standing a half a block away, it's etched in the glass, you're going to be able to read it.
And I'm sure if you're half a block away, you're going to be able to see that building. You're going to know where that building is. Oh, that's my opinion. I'm the one
Well,
talking.
when do we
here.
have
Go
to
ahead.
make a decision about this particular thing?
When?
Yes, please.
First of all, unless we get too over the top here, TOT, this is already included in the budget, so there's no additional cost here.
That's not my
When do we
question.
need to
My question
make
is,
a
when do we
decision?
have to make a
He
decision?
never answers the questions, does he? Man, he just...
When do we have to make a decision?
I would like to see a decision made fairly soon so that we can incorporate the plans for whatever is necessary into the construction phase, because where lighting's going to be, where the rough end's going to be for the sign, we need to know all that, correct?
Okay, can you give us a date when we have to make a decision?
23rd of May.
Okay, thank you. That's what she was asking, right? Today. I know it is.
Thank you, Karen. I appreciate that. I had so much intellectual discussion was going on up here. I forgot that. We also need to go to the city of Elyria also to design review.
Yeah, right.
And that's going to take a long and drawn-out process also.
So you have to come to us with the design of a sign first, then you got to take that design to the Elyria, what is it called, the design review?
The design review, and they obviously will probably be just overwhelmed with how wonderful it is and approve that. So just in case they're not, though, we need to give ourselves a little time so that we can come back to you and once again look at the issue.
You're saying that the sign on the top will be facing, in other words, the old courthouse, right? This
Yes.
building is the...
Right
Okay.
there, like that.
So what's the purpose of the sign up there for long distance? Because this street goes that way, they're not facing that way, so these people aren't going to see it.
Yeah. And then when they're coming down 2nd Street, maybe that's when they'll see it.
Down here, maybe?
You can
No, the
see this
church,
building
the
from a long
courthouse
distance.
is going to block
will be
that.
seen
Still being viewed from a long
very
distance. If you look at the Elyria Memorial Hospital, they've got the marking on the top, so wherever you can see it from a distance.
That's a good example. Are you guys looking for something like EMH over there? Is that what you're asking us?
Well, it'll be a beacon of the downtown area.
I guess that's what
I
he
know,
wants
but
to
will
compare
that
to
sign
that.
be that large that people can see from such a distance?
The letters are 16 or 18 inches high.
Actually, 24 inches
24?
the largest, 16 inches the smallest.
Well, that's only about 12 inches.
Like that.
Yeah.
Okay. It's the pleasure of the board.
You show 1, 2, 3.
Oh, sure, okay.
1, 2, 3.
Well, anyway, this is the first option. That's the one that we actually felt most comfortable with. We can also place this sign
In the basement.
just in the basement is a good idea. We can also place a sign somewhere in the middle of the building. So say, for example,
Well, it's the same
right
sign
there.
now. No, but it's the same sign. You're just saying, you're just moving it around the building now?
Guy's giving you 3 choices.
Give me one choice on the sign in 3 positions, right?
I'll bring you back choices on the sign if you want. I mean, that's
I'm
your
just asking,
prerogative.
that's all.
Well, I thought, what I heard was that he's going to give us 3 choices for where we might like the
It's
sign.
basically, yes, it's an
Thank you.
issue of positioning.
All right, the third one. If we're talking about a distance, I say put it up on the top, and put your one by the door and go over. We're done.
Don't even want to hear the third one.
No, cut through the baloney and let's get right to the...
It's lunchtime.
It's been lunchtime. I know, I like the one at the top.
Yeah.
That's the
David?
one we actually suggest.
I don't like the sign at all.
What would you like
I
to see
don't
with the sign?
particularly care for a sign on the building. I think the one...
No, you don't have to have a sign. If you don't want one, you don't have to have one.
Savings on that could get our stones in the building, huh?
Oh, yeah, right. Probably could, though.
Recognizing that, our buildings, though, we do have the name of the building on most of our buildings already, so, but if you don't want one, that's your prerogative. That's
Yeah, but
also
I
a
don't see
decision.
where they're that large. That's why I'm thinking right over
Well,
the top of
Commissioner,
the doors.
I got to, this building is,
Huge.
yes, thank you. I don't want to say the word huge, I don't get everybody in downtown Elyria scared again, but and putting it in perspective, a 2-foot letter is going to be dwarfed by the size of this building. It'll be respectful, it'll be professional looking, it will not be overwhelming or overpowering.
I like the sign right above the doors.
Yeah.
I think that's sufficient. That's my opinion, so.
Well, of course, this is something that's really going to be of a more pedestrian scale. If you're driving, say, on Court Street, and you see it, you'll be able to read it. If you're walking around, you'll be able to see it. If you're a block, 2 blocks away, for example,
For 120 years, our courthouse has been here, and if people here don't know if you can say it's across the street from the old courthouse, I think that's how people can describe where the Justice Center is, so.
Personally, when I'm looking for the building, I'm not going to look up.
I'll be looking down all the way in if I'm going in. Which I hope I don't have to. What's the pleasure of the board, then?
I say one sign above the door.
Commissioner Blair?
Well, I like the one at the top.
Oh, boy.
Well, first you said you liked
I
it.
asked. No, I
A top where? A top of the building?
Yes.
and I'm happy with it right above the door.
Okay, fine, so you got 2 people wanted above the door, so let's
I'll
move
make
on.
sure, is that okay?
That's what I
Is that okay? Okay, then we're done with that.
No sign.
no sign at all?
No,
Just above the
on the building, no.
Right above the door.
Oh, okay.
Well, recognizing that's not a sign above the door, that's going to be,
Those are going to be letterings.
Right,
It's
okay.
basically just going to be block letters.
All right, that's fine.
okay.
How much did we save today on that?
$1.98.
Oh, okay, I don't think so. We'll talk.
We have a budget for signage, don't we, Joe?
Limited, yeah.
They're just
Okay.
block letters? That's it? No fancy letters?
The style will be,
It's Times New Roman.
Now, do you want the county seal on the outside of the building anywhere? It's on this
We
building.
can talk about that later. I don't think that has to be decided today, does it? See, he's saying no. I think it's something,
if it's surface mounted, you have a lot of time. If it gets
Exactly.
embedded in the brick, we don't have as much time.
correct. And surface mounted would be like what's downstairs in the admin building. You can
Yeah.
see it.
Correct.
Okay. Which I think is nice.
Okay. No sign. It's the unknown building. We'll put a bag over it.
Oh, yeah. I don't think this will ever be known as the unknown building, so.
I was looking at Bob, I just couldn't help myself.
Okay.
Those are the only issues we had today on the Justice Center?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Emilio.
Thank you for coming in. Any more report there, Mr. County Administrator?
I think I've exhausted the board's patience. I'll conclude.
The governor is in town, and we'd like to at least see if we get some money out of him, so.
Okay.
Is that it?
That's it.
Thank you.
Non-commissioners report then?
Commissioner Vacy?
I just want to ask Jim, did you get a hold of the sheriff to ask him about if he's got a contract with Jobs and Family Services?
That's being done this morning. Ms. Strozak isn't here, but I asked her to make the call because we were in here all morning. Yesterday I was at the college most of the day, so hopefully we'll have that answer by the end of the day or early in the morning, but it is being pursued.
Okay, thanks. That's all I have.
Commissioner Blair?
The Lorain County Community Alliance will meet next Friday, a week from tomorrow, June 7th, at the Lorain County Metro Parks Beaver Creek Reservation. We're going to hear about the bicentennial celebrations coming up, and there's going to be a presentation by the Bylaw Review Committee headed by Mayor Jimmy Davis of Vermilion, and also a Stormwater Task Force report from Avon Lake engineer Joe Wrights. Encourage anybody who's interested to visit at this meeting, and that Metro Parks Beaver Creek Reservation is really a wonderful thing. It's on North Lake Street in Amherst. I also like to commend Oberlin for being named one of the top 10 Energy Smart communities by the governor, and I attended their demonstration Saturday. It was very interesting, so they're on the move. There's a cooperation between the Chamber, the Oberlin Municipal Light and Power System, Oberlin Design Initiative, and Oberlin College. And Elizabeth's gone, but she was weeding the garden there when I was there. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you. At 1:30, Governor Taft will be touring the Glide facilities in which this board has supported. Basically, he wants to check it out. He's got $1.5 billion he'd like to allocate to the new economy, and Lorain County has taken the lead in that, and he'd like to see what we're doing. So we'll be leaving here shortly to see that. So that's all I have to say. So hopefully we can have some nice discussions with the governor that might be able to help out Lorain County. That's it for me.
Any old business?
None.
New business?
None.
Board correspondence?
Move the reading be
Second.
waived.
Mrs. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Mrs. Vacy?
Aye.
Public comment?
Any public comment? Mr. Kish?
Just got to move back to the...
Oh,
Just from last week, as the caissons go rolling around.
he's singing now.
Well, what you just talked about, I don't know, perhaps had you approved the sign, the city of Elyria might not have approved it. They're quite concerned about signage. This is the, I'd like to welcome you to this, what would I say? This isn't going to be a regular talk. This is going to be something that's hit me pretty hard 2 weeks ago when I was standing in Bedford, Virginia. I had an older buddy that got drafted into World War II. He died on Normandy Beach. There is a facility just this side of Lynchburg. This monument is there. It was dedicated last year. And when you look at it, you don't get much of a boost out of it. But if you take the time to stand there at the foot of the cliff where the 4 soldiers are scaling this wall, and you spend a little time and read the plaque under it, and you hear the simulated sound of the bullets hitting the water, you stand there and you hear the sound behind you and you look forward, you will know what freedom means and what those guys went through. He never returned. His name nobody knows in this county possibly. Rudy Adamek. A nobody. But he died for this country. Patton said, don't die for your country, make the other SOB die for his. And I agree with that. So this is coming up shortly, D-Day. My neighbor who had lived across the street from me had never heard of VJ Day or VE Day, let alone D-Day. We're not teaching history, and if we do not teach history, we are going to repeat it. We did repeat it, September 11th. I had a suggestion in years ago that would have possibly prevented that. I have another one today I'm waiting to hear from Congressman Brown's office. I need a telephone number in Washington. Evidently, it's classified. I can't get it yet. But I've got 29 years as an air traffic controller, and I still took a pledge to this country, and I still have not rescinded it. Thank you.
Anybody else have any comments?
My name's Ann Molnar. I live at 2306 East 31st Street in Lorain, and I am here today in behalf of Voices for Children. I have been a volunteer for 10 years. We have over 100 people who volunteer for CASA. CASA is a court-appointed special advocate, and we represent abused children in court. I wrote a letter to Mr. Cortez, and first of all, I do want to thank you commissioners and Mr. Cortez for giving us the 2 spaces here in the building. And I am making another request here we do have quite a few senior citizens who do volunteer with this program. And sometimes we have to come to this building and then walk all the way down to the Boble building to Judge Boris's court. And sometimes it becomes a little hardship for some of the elder seniors. So I'm requesting at this time, if you would be kind enough to just reserve 1 space down at Boble's for Voices for Children. I'd appreciate that very much. And I'm speaking in behalf of all the volunteers. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I would like to have a response to that, please. Okay.
Wish the city of Lorain would have public speaking. This would be fun. Would you want to discuss this, Mr. Cortez?
I agree. The city of Lorain should have.
No, I'm talking about the other one.
I think the ACLU would have agreed too. They were
Karen
still
is
here.
looking at you. Does she have something she wants to tell
We'll
you?
talk about it. I have Ms. Molnar's request. It's on my desk. I'm aware of her situation. The unfortunate part is I don't have any parking spots left. So
There's not many over there, though, is there?
no, it's not.
How many are over there?
Karen, about 30.
And they're full,
So
except for the handicap.
it's the board's pleasure. I'm certainly boot anybody out you want.
How many handicap spots do we have over there?
There's probably a total of 6, but they're spread out
And required by law.
and required by law.
And those are not reserved for anyone special, are they?
No, they're handicapped.
The ones in this garage are reserved. We issued handicap pass for the ones in this
If
garage.
there's 6, are you telling me there's 6 handicap spaces for 30 spaces? I think the law is you only need 2 for... Okay.
Yes, she's talking about multiple lots.
Right.
The Bulbul's lot itself, I think, has 2.
Oh, okay. Because I was wondering, that's 6 handicaps for 30
Yeah, I
spaces.
thought it
A little
was a
time.
lot over there.
Well, are the 2 being used, a handicap for 2? Because that still sounds... I thought it was
They're
like...
probably not being used.
I think you only need 1 for every 50. That's what, I don't know, I don't understand. The 2, so we have 30 spaces, I mean...
But every after you pass a threshold, it doesn't matter if it's only by 5 or by 10, you have to provide the second spot. So it may be 1 for 25. After you get past 25, you have to provide the second one until you don't get to the threshold
But you're
level.
just thinking of, can you find out what that number is? And if it's 30, then we might be able to come up with 1 extra spot.
Sure.
But Ann, have those people tried parking in those handicap spots over there?
They will not park in handicap.
Oh, they're not handicapped, they're elderly, but not handicapped.
Oh, I didn't see that sign where it says elderly.
No,
Pardon me? No, I say, these people you're speaking of, you said elderly people that can't walk over there.
they should have handicap.
I'm wondering if they couldn't park in the handicap spots over
If
there.
they have a handicap sticker, they have to have.
You know, otherwise the violation of law, and it'll be fined $250.
So we,
I understand that, I'm just saying they're not handicapped with a sticker.
I don't know.
No, okay.
For someone who is having difficulty walking and living there. And we do have a lot of citizens that do volunteer.
It's up to you. Okay, so you'll check on that and get back to her?
I already gave you an answer, Commissioner.
No, you're going to check on the handicap.
Oh, I'll check on the handicap.
Yeah, see if that we could do.
Okay. Sure.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else have anything to speak, or anything to speak? That means speaking properly. I've been here too long.
My name is Olga Havanas, and I was happy
Molnar talk about the Voices for Children. I'm here on two different issues. Senior citizen legal aid or legal assistance. My mother was stripped into a power of attorney, and now my mom was just like Mrs. Molnar, if you don't mind my saying so. She's spritey and just full of everything, and all of a sudden her money's gone. Someone has all her money. We went to the Social Security office. Well, this person already has a power of attorney. We'll just leave it with her. Then she was able to go to a closer bank where she could even walk to the bank. Now the money is in another bank in Oberlin, and so on and so on and so on. We've gone to an attorney twice. We had two appointments to rescind a revocation, and I went through the same thing with my ex-husband with a power of attorney. Those are very lethal. It's very hard to get your name back again. So my mother and I both went through these types of circumstances. I've gotten my name back, and now my mom's fighting for her. Mr. Szabo in Lorain, he had us go 2 appointments. My mom had high blood pressure. She left that office forgetting her cane. He didn't even have the courtesy to tell us that her cane was forgotten in his office. And it should be easier for senior citizens not to be swindled and taken advantage of. Because of the way Mr. Szabo acted towards her, she doesn't really want to go see another attorney, but she is considering it. Tomorrow we're going back to the Social Security office for the 3rd or 4th time. And I've gone to one of those Midway Mall senior citizen get-togethers for my mom's behalf, and they'd never heard of this type of a problem. And I got 2 attorneys' names out of the senior newspaper, and it's still very difficult to bring a senior citizen who is an immigrant from a foreign country who does not even understand someone taking their name and using it to their advantage. And I didn't even know about this happening, so I just found out about it. The other issue that I'm contending with is she had mentioned Voices for Children, and now with this pedophile situation, it's very difficult, and I know Mrs. Macy was in the Protect the Children volunteer agency, and I had been a member of that too. What makes it very difficult is if you go to the attorney's office, Baumgartner O'Toole, you find out that it's not just Baumgartner O'Toole attorneys, it's also Gary Bennett. He is my husband's ex-lawyer, Mr. So-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. And if Mr. Gary Bennett represents your ex-husband, then everybody in that firm isn't going to help you out. So then you go to Lorain and you speak with the Provenza, Mr. Mark Provenza attorneys, and you spend an hour and a half going over an hour and a half worth of, you can see my briefcase over there, of real estate empire building, which is knocked down in one divorce hearing without my having an attorney by Mr. Gary Bennett, like New York crisis. I've been through that, done that. I think attorneys should be more helpful in helping, especially women and children. The Voices for Children, I tried calling them, that is strictly foster children. That's what I was told. You see, I was told foster children. Today, I was told this was a children's services. I have a hearing on May 30th. It's a done deal. It's already done. Child Support Bureau. My ex-husband is taking, I think the term is impounding child support orders, transferring it to the Social Security office. The Social Security office is tacking on another $275 to the $265. My son is going to be 16 on the 29th of this month, and on the 30th is this court hearing. I didn't even tell my son about that. But Mr. Twining here was giving a talk on his proposal. I owned property on 11360 acres. We were going to divvy it up, and we were going to have the front part
as residential. We went into the petitions. Then we were going to have by TRW, which is Nelson Stud now, we were going to have a catering service there, and we paid, I'll just tell you, $225,000 for it. Then we purchased the one property on an acre where my son is living. Guess what? It's not mine. And here we are, you know. I can't have an attorney at my divorce hearing because Mr. Gary Bennett was the judge and jury and the lawyer. I am going on the 30th because this is what they said. You're supposed to be there. Mrs. Vasey, I spoke with her yesterday about the children's services. You know, I'm tired of being a phantom, a ghost. I am a naturalized citizen of this country. My ex-husband and I put together a tremendous empire, and Mr. Gary Bennett demolished it. And no one's letting me have it back. And now my mother's going through the same thing. She has to get her name back. And you know, I care about my mother, I care about my son, and right now I get a job, I move on with my life. Guess what? I no longer have that job because my ex was fired because of, and I'm not here to, I am up against the wall, and that's why I'm here. I can't get an attorney. Elyria is suddenly a teeny little town where everybody knows everybody, and it's like Baumgartner O'Toole offices. I went to Mr. James Taylor. I says, I have some serious child care issues to contend with. Get out of town. I went to Bishop Pilla, and you've read all the Bishop Pilla, go get counseling. There is a prayer service at St. Jude, a healing prayer service. That's not enough. You need counselors, you need attorneys to block people like my ex who tell you, I'm going to impound child support orders, it's going to come out of my Social Security, and that's the law. I don't think so. How do I get help? I'm the mom, I'm the pop. He has reasons for not visiting his child. He's taken all the money. The attorney, Mr. Gary Bennett, is the top man. He has blocked me having an attorney at my trial. And if I get a job and try to move on, despite all of these obstacles, my ex comes in. Well, he was fired Hallmark Realty because of something he did. So therefore, I cannot step ahead 3 spaces either. And this is not unusual. I'm sure all of you have heard this before. And we do mothers and children and voices for children, abused children, mothers, women who have been abused. We need more help. This has been going on for 15 years, believe it or not. 15 years. 23 years of marriage building an empire, and 15 years knocking it down. Honest to God. I'm sorry to be so down on this, but many women are going through this. And how do we address this? Who do I speak with? How do I get beyond Mr. Gary Bennett?
Exactly what is your need? I'm speaking, Mary Jo, up here.
Oh, sorry, you sound like you're over there.
I know, a lot of people say that.
Because when I go to the Child Support Bureau, Mrs. Denise Deary is the administrator. Her husband, of course, is the lawyer. He's in my neighborhood. They won't even let me have a hearing.
I'm asking you, how do you feel that this board can help you?
I was thinking, are you aware that these types of things are going on in the city that...
Okay, well, I think I understand. It sounds like to me you're having more like a legal issue because of the relationships that are developed within the attorneys in this county. I think that's what I'm hearing a lot of. And I think, I don't know what your economic abilities are. And so you're asking for us for help. I think the best thing to do, it sounds like to me, is the anger is really, from what I've heard, is on the local systems here with the
Yes.
Okay. And I've known to go outside this county if I have to, if I feel that way, and I have personally. And that's why I don't know what your economic situation is. If you're asking for guidance from us, we're not counselors. It sounds like you're in the middle of...
I thought perhaps you had some input as to who... I know Mr. Innes was an attorney. He was my brother's, Kathy Barron Smith's attorney.
But
you
he's
know,
not- but he's not here
But he's
today.
not an attorney anymore. But yes, I have gone out of town. I have gone to Mr. Joseph Stafford in Cleveland because
Okay,
of,
so you do
no,
have
he
a-
can't help. I've gone to Toledo, and I'm sure you've heard of the Ohio Justice for Law. You have an attorney for all 12 months of the year, and you pay them $25. I have really had bad experiences. What they did, they took my Social Security number and they tacked it on to my ex-husband's his name. They took his Social Security number and put it on my name. So rather than take care of some very serious legal issues, I'm fighting to get our Social Security numbers back in place. It's like that all the time in Toledo, in Cleveland. There's a pattern here, and I feel like a victim.
Oh, no, once you get in the court system, you got my support, because I feel that way.
All I'm trying to do is move on,
Exactly.
but they keep yanking me back.
So do you have legal representation right now?
As I said, I went to Mr. Provenza, 5 attorneys. We can't help you. I went to Mr. Manillo in Rocky River. I saw him on TV addressing the pedophile priest circumstance. Sorry, I can't help
But I know
you.
there's over 2,500 attorneys in Cleveland alone. There's a thick phone book.
Where do you begin?
Phone book, Yellow Pages, and start going.
The library.
The bar, we have a Lorain County Bar Association too.
No, they're not any help.
Then you better, I think Cuyahoga County would be your next bet. There's 2,500 lawyers, and I know there's too many lawyers in this world as is. There's got to be somebody who could help you. There's got to be. I think the Yellow Pages is your best bet, because personally, I wouldn't go in there without a lawyer. So that's just...
You can't just pick someone out of a hat.
You're going to have to, because
Well-
if not, you're unrepresented right now, right? And it sounds like that's what your issue is, so...
It just sounds like Mr. Gary Bennett, is running the show, and here, it's all done.
I know, but-
We have already received one check from the Social Security Administration. It's a done deal. Why are we even going?
Excuse me.
No, I know that, but okay.
You know.
I'm just...
There's a book at the library that lists attorneys and what they specialize in. What is it called? Tom?
Oh, I don't know.
What is that? And it also lists what corporations they work for. Pardon?
Mrs.
There is a
Basie,
directory.
when we were in the Protect the Children volunteer agency, Mr. Martinek was in charge of that organization. Well, he happens to have represented the real estate agency that my ex worked for. So there went,
I know, everybody's related and...
yes.
Like I said, I think if the Yellow Pages and start
You
going...
don't have anyone in
the county?
building
We have the only one working...
addresses these issues when no one else...
No, what you're asking us to do is to get in the middle of a divorce, it sounds like to me, and I think you don't have representation, it sounds
No,
like.
it's Voices for Children.
No, you were yelling at, you've been talking about lawyers, I thought. Is that right, or?
I heard a couple issues on pedophiles here. Is the issue more broad-based than what you're telling the board? I don't know how pedophiles and divorce...
No, I don't want to go there. All I'm saying, she needs representation. I think that's number one. And you're talking to us as, I look, not as a Board of Commissioners, but as people here trying to help you. That's how I see it. Because the Board of Commissioners, as a board, we're the administrative arm. And we have programs that are out there. It sounds like you've touched on a few.
Yes.
But right now, the immediate need I see that you have, this is just me as a person talking, I think you need representation. I really believe that. And it sounds like in your heart, you can't get it. And I think your best bet is you've only called, you said 5 people. If you're going to a...
No, I've called more than
Okay,
that.
but I think you should go into Cuyahoga County. There's more than enough lawyers in this world, especially in Cuyahoga County. I think if you just find somebody that you need to be represented first, and then I think that might be your first
I
step.
was asking for names that dealt with these types.
No,
Well, you have to identify the problem.
Yeah.
Identify the specific problem, and then find an attorney that specializes in that problem.
And in the Yellow Pages, they do that. So I think you need to do that.
Excuse me, but if you go to the library, they do have a book, and it's about this thick, lists all attorneys, and many of them are in
A
Cleveland.
directory?
Yeah.
It's some type of directory.
And it lists their
but
specialties, right?
It lists their specialties, and it also lists in there what corporations they work for.
Okay, so I think if you do that should be
Are there
fine.
any volunteer agencies like to Protect the Children that were in effect when, several years ago? No?
No.
We're unaware.
Not that I know.
Because I do remember, you at that one.
I remember. No, I think that's dissolved.
Well, I pretty much knew that.
Lorain County Bar Association of Broad Street.
Right.
In the Robinson Building. I can help anyone who's looking for
You need 3.
a lawyer who specializes in a certain area.
Mr. Ennis, I went there, and they told me they don't give referrals.
I'm not saying referrals,
Or-
I'll tell you who specializes in what areas.
Okay.
They do that.
Okay, because, and there's hardly anybody there. I have gone up
No,
there.
no, cut it out. Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Do you think, I don't know if we have, I don't think we have enough time for an executive session today. So
I won't be here next week.
can we wait 2 weeks, Jeff?
That's up to the board.
Can we have at least 10 minutes, because there is one thing that I have to discuss.
I don't know if we even have. Can we,
I don't care if it's 5 minutes, but I want to make you knowledgeable of something.
we're going to have an executive session, we're going to have it. Either we do it or we don't.
We just have to make it quick. We'll get out in 10 or 15 minutes. We'll get out of here.
Okay, then let's go.
Your motion?
Okay, I'll make a motion for executive session.
Second?
Mr. Moore? Mrs. Blair? Mr.
Aye.
Bassett?
Aye.